and welcome guests.
Good morning.
Typically, when I write a speech, I think about the speech. I rarely write it down. And as I commute to work across 285, I develop the speech and I give the speech. I got the thought for this speech about 3 weeks ago. I have not developed it to the point that I'm rehearsing it going across 285. But I feel very strongly about it, and I'd like to share with you today my thoughts on a portal to my ancestry. The purpose of this speech is not to impress you with factual knowledge. It's not to gain empathy or sympathy. It's merely to share an experience that we all share in this club as a result of the rich and diverse cultures that we have in Dogwood Toastmasters. It's a platform for all of us to grow. And I would like to help us as a group continue to grow with one of my experiences. I can't share much about my ancestry. I can trace my ancestors back on my mother's side to my grandfather. I had a long conversation with my uncle, my mother's last surviving sibling, who's 80, just yesterday, as a matter of fact, trying to get a connection to my great-grandfather. He had little to share about his grandfather. On my father's side, I can't share anything past my father. I knew who my grandfather was, my paternal grandfather, but it's an interesting story because my father was born in 1876.
Wow.
So therefore, when I say I can't trace back to my grandfather on my father's side, it's kind of understanding. But nevertheless, I cannot connect the dots. So I would like to share some things with you and to give an idea of why I feel so strong about the portal to my ancestry. Bear with me as I read this passage. My mother's family was among the first settlers of America. My great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was one of the richest men of his time. I recently learned that my family's wealth derived not because of individual industry, but because they benefited from the free labor of over 10,000 human beings. People held in captivity against their will, people who were enslaved to work the 42 plantations of my family in Virginia, Mississippi, and North Carolina. As much as I abhor this history, I take solace in the fact that my ancestors did a few things right. They rarely sold their slaves. They honored family bonds. They kept ledgers in which they documented births, marriages, deaths of the people they enslaved. These records contain invaluable genealogical material for people living today who yearn to know from whence they came. Today I'm on a mission to make my family records and others like mine accessible to the public. Now, that was written by Diana Hairston Roman, no direct relation to me. Diana lives in Peachtree City. Diana is one of the white Hairstons. Most Hairstons are black Hairstons. And the reason for that is her family, whereas they had 42 slave plantations, they had over 10,000 slaves. 10,000. That is a massive number, especially when you put it in context that over 80% of the slave owners in this country, whether they were white slave owners or another little known fact, there were blacks who also owned slaves. 80% of the slave owners had 5 slaves or less. This family controlled 10,000. So I was inspired to write the speech because of 2 speeches in this group. One, Barbara, when Barbara gave her speech about her experience when her mother sent her from Boston to North Carolina in the 60s, and what she found out about the segregated South. The other one that I was inspired by was Drew Gilliland's last speech, icebreaker speech, 3 weeks ago. For those of you who don't know Drew, he's not here today. Drew is our newest member, and he gave his icebreaker speech. Part of that speech, Drew talked about his ancestors and how one of his ancestors eulogized John Randolph of Virginia back in 1780. How one of his ancestors actually was eulogizing John Randolph and fell dead while he was giving the eulogy. After that meeting, my next appointment was to go to a filming for a fundraiser that we are trying to put together, to develop. And Diana, who wrote that passage, will use that passage as an entree to help use funds for a website. We've all heard of blackhairston.com or Ancestry, our ancestors.com. We're launching a website for Hairston's. So for the 10,000 people who were formerly slaves, you'll be able to go on to a website and research your past.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very interesting story. There's even a book written about the Hairstons. And I was invited to a book signing about 12 years ago by Diana's cousin, Julie. Julie is a writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You might see her columns from time to time. Well, she and Diana, whose passage I just read, are first cousins. Every year there is a Hairston reunion in Virginia, or not always in Virginia, but usually on the East Coast. And at that reunion, there are typically 1,000 to 1,500 people.
Wow.
Descendants of former slaves and descendants of former slave owners who come together and bridge the past. That's my speech for the day, and it was something that I just wanted to share.